Welcome to Bosco Campus Vision. You're watching the campus television channel of Don Bosco College, Kottayam. This lecture is on the prescribed syllabus of 5th semester BA English Literature and Language. Paper is Literary Criticism. In this lecture, I am going to deal with Matthew Arnold. This is part 1 of the lecture on Matthew Arnold. Matthew Arnold, birth year is 1822 and death year is 1888. Matthew Arnold, the Victorian poet and critic, was the first modern critic and was called the critic's critic, as he was a champion of great poetry and literary criticism. H. Paul says that of all modern poets, except Goethe, he was the best critic. Of all modern critics, with the same exception, he was the best poet. Arnold's critical essays inculcate the disciplined respect for a high and flawless excellence and insist that the power of literature resides chiefly in the refining and elevation wrought in us by the high and rare excellence of the great style. Though he was a devotee of the Greek and Latin classics, Arnold was in agreement with Saint Beuve in recognizing as classics the best books in every language. He was able to recognize literary language. He was able to recognize literary excellence even when it does not conform to established canons and precedents, and thus avoided the mistakes of the classical critics of the 18th century. Arnold defined criticism as a disinterested endeavor to learn and propagate the best that has been known and thought in the world. Arnold regarded criticism as an instrument of culture and culture itself as a study of perfection and its origin in the love of perfection. Thus, he insisted of high standards in literature and in life. Arnold turned his back completely on the romantic theories of poetry to create a current of true and fresh ideas, and he has influenced a number of critics such as T.S. Eliot, F.R. Lewis, and Alan Tate. Arnold was the founder of sociological school of criticism. Arnold introduced a methodology of objective criticism through essay on criticism. He set up the federal idea of criticism by adopting his famous method of comparative criticism, that is the touchstone method, which introduced scientific objectivity to critical evaluation by providing comparison and analysis as the two primary tools of criticism. Arnold's evaluation of the Romantic poets such as Wordsworth, Byron, Shelley, and Keats are landmarks in descriptive criticism. As a poet critic, Arnold occupies an eminent position in the rich gallery of the poet critics of English literature. Arnold's critical works can be divided into literary criticism. Under this comes your preface to 1853 volume of poems that is published in the year 1853. Then next one is on translating Homer, 1861. Essay in criticism, the first series published in the year 1865. Then Irish essays and others published in the year 1882. Then the second series of essay in criticism published in the year 1888. Next one is socio-ethical criticism. Under this comes the work Culture and Anarchy published in the year 1869. Now let's talk about grand style. The expression grand style was first used by Joshua Reynolds. Arnold has first used this expression in the work Preface to 1853 volume of poems, when he made reference about the poetic excellences of the ancient writers. He elaborates the term in his critical work on translating Homer. The classical poets Homer and Virgil, the illustrious Italian poet Dante, and the distinguished English poet Milton are presented as the masters of grand style. This distinction is denied even to Shakespeare, not to speak the eminent English poets from Tennyson to Young. Arnold then explains that the grand style arises in poetry when a noble nation practically gifted treats with simplicity or severity a serious subject. For grand style, the poet must have nobility of soul, subject must have serious action, and the treatment must be severe and simple. Homer is the best model of a simple grand style, while Milton is the best model of severe grand style, and Dante is an example of both simple and severe grand style. Next, let's talk about the function of criticism according to Matthew Arnold. It is in his The Function of Criticism at the Present Time, 1864, that Arnold says that criticism should be a dissemination of ideas, a disinterested endeavor to learn and propagate the best that is known and thought in the world. So, this is described in the work The Function of Criticism at the Present Time, that was published in the year 1864. He says that when evaluating a work, the aim is to see the object as in itself it really is. Psychological, historical, and sociological backgrounds are irrelevant, and to dwell on such aspects is mere dilettantism, that is, love of fine arts. This stance was very influential with later critics. Disinterestedness in criticism means a free play of the mind in all subjects. It touches the mind by steadily refusing to lend itself to any of those extraneous considerations like political or personal which many people are inclined to attach to it and with which criticism has nothing to do. Arnold also believed that in his quest for the best, a critic should not confine himself to the literature of his own country, but should draw substantially on foreign literature and ideas, because the propagation of ideas should be an objective endeavor. Criticism must essentially be the exercise of curiosity, and the critic must pursue his course with the greatest of sincerity. Criticism is lower in rank to creation, but criticism which is sincere, simple, and ardent gives a sense of creative activity. Do the given exercise and submit on time. Thank you.